All right, and we are live here to chat about tonight's episode of Suits, so season 8, episode 3, entitled Promises, Promises. If my voice sounds weird, it's for one of two reasons. Reason number 1, I'm using a slightly different mic than usual. Reason number 2, I was at Warped Tour yesterday.
Yes.
You decide. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about our favorites, or maybe not so favorite, lawyers. And joining me, as almost always, is Miss Shana. Shana, say hi. All right, let's just get right into it because we're going to try to make tonight's episode real speedy and not drag out too much. We, as always, start with our rating system, and those of you watching live or joining now can type your rating in the chat on a scale from 1 to 5. What would you rate tonight's episode? 1 being like terrible, you hated it, whatever, and 5 being you loved it or you loved almost everything about it. It was an almost perfect episode. Where would you put tonight's episode? And I'm going to toss it, of course, to Shana to start our rating.
I think I'm going to go with a 4.
Okay.
We had some nice the Grinch's heart grew 3 sizes stuff, and we had some fun stuff, and we had the Brian and Katrina stuff.
Yeah.
And we had some other stuff.
I would give this, just to offer my rating right off the bat, I would give it like a 4.5. I really enjoyed tonight's episode, actually. So there's sort of 3 main plot lines, and anybody watching this, I'm sure, has already watched them. But to summarize, we had the plot line you referenced with Katrina and Brian, where they kind of had to work together on a case. We had the plot line with Sam and Alex, kind of working with a very corrupt, or working with / against a pretty corrupt potential client / former client. And then we had the Harvey and Donna and kind of everybody versus the landlord situation, where the corrupt landlord, who we've met before, was badly mistreating his employees, and Pearson Spector, or whatever the firm is called now, stepped in. I liked all of the storylines, not all to the same degree. I think Katrina and Brian's storyline stole the show for me. I really enjoyed theirs quite a lot. I found it really heartwarming, as you said. And then obviously Harvey stepping in on kind of like the type of case that Mike would have stepped in on. That was really cute, and seeing everybody kind of come together for that and understand where he was coming from. And then Donna at the end against the landlord, always loved that. But even the Alex versus Sam stuff, and I'm not really invested in either character yet, I found it really interesting. It was an interesting plot. They seemed to play off decently well against each other. I think pretty early in the episode, I mentioned on Twitter that I'm really going to struggle with it if they're going to try to make Alex and Sam a like romantic ship. And it really didn't seem like they were going that route. So I don't know. I really liked it. And you gave it a 4. So let's start with your pros. What were your favorite bits of those 3 storylines?
The Katrina and Brian, like the little death scene, like I got a little bit weepy when I watched it earlier today. I tweeted like, either I'm really tired or it's sweet. It was actually, I think it might actually have been sweet. Definitely like the Darby in the copy room.
3 sizes too big.
Darby in the copy room.
Yeah.
Hurting the landlord again. Mm-hmm. While also kind of like, I mean, she got a punishment in there for Harvey too, because he's got to like present this asshole.
Yeah. Which is a good way to keep him in check, though. Keep the asshole in check.
Also, Harvey, though, like, hey, babe, if you do stupid shit, I'm gonna, I'm gonna come for you. And she did. Zane and Harvey having a drink, even though they were kind of doing like dude bro conversation things, it was still nice to see them, finally having their date that they've been planning since the children left.
Yes. it was kind of reminiscent. Again, I always say this every week that nobody can replace Jessica, and obviously I'm pretty biased. Wow, my framing's off this week. She's not like properly. Anyway, it's too late to do anything now.
Yeah.
Nobody can replace Jessica, but I thought that the Harvey and Zane moment this week was a bit reminiscent of Harvey and Jessica's dynamic in its own new way.
Maybe. It's nice seeing, I mean, we kind of had guessed that Harvey was going to be the new Mike. We definitely confirmed that tonight, which is funny because you said you had a slightly different Mike than usual a minute ago. And Joe had a slightly different Mike than usual.
Yeah. Speaking of having a slightly different mic, can you guys actually hear me? Like, is it working pretty well? Well, good enough. Let me jump in the chat and read some ratings in there. Stormy says she gives the episode 3 out of 5. Comment saying, I want Katrina to get senior partner, not Alex or Sam. Okay, let's jump into that because we do kind of have a 3-way race for senior partner, right? We have Alex, Sam, and Katrina as well. And that 3-way race is kind of all spearheaded by Harvey, Zane, and Lewis. So this is all, it's a little formulaic, but it's kind of interesting. I think I'm getting more interested in this race since Katrina's added to it, since I'm, we've mentioned that Alex and Sam were kind of taking a while to get warmed up to them and taking a while for their dialogue to sort of flow with the speed of the show. Katrina, however, I love, and obviously she's had the benefit of time. She's been involved in the show much longer, and I'm very willing to get involved in this race and rooting for her. What are you thinking? Do you feel like she's a valid contender for named partner in all of this, or is she just sort of the wild card and it really is Alex versus Sam?
Well, that is one distinction we have to make because technically Lewis only offered her senior, which I believe Alex and Sam already are. Kind of like Harvey.
Yeah, you're beginning. Right.
But I wonder if it's going towards she's going to prove herself way more, and those other two are just going to be left out. And she's gonna, there's still a thing of you can't promote 3 people at once. So I do think it's still valid to, kind of wonder and root that Katrina gets what she wanted before they get anywhere near what they wanted.
I mean, she could get senior partner before the name part. Yeah, I guess I wasn't making that distinction between senior and name. It's not possible. It would be impossible, improbable, unlikely, whatever, for her to get senior partner and name partner at the same time. I assume if any legal types are watching, feel free to school me in the chat.
I mean, she's Katrina though. She can Black Swan that shit.
Mm-hmm. You're right. And she does do ballet, as we know.
I know. I keep waiting for this show to do a Katrina represents a ballet dancer or
company or something. God, wouldn't that be incredible?
Go meta for me. Give me this one. You won't give me Darby. Just give me that.
Here, I'll write it for you. So Tessa Virtue comes in, but rather than playing herself, she plays a ballerina because Tessa Virtue, the ice dancer, was once offered a spot with the Canadian Ballet and knows obviously a ton of ballet. She comes in playing somebody in a ballet, whatever thing, I don't know. And then she interacts with Katrina and then they become girlfriends. And that's the whole story. No one else is in the episode. It's just them.
No, but I want to see Amanda interact with somebody that she in the old life, if you will, but in this now, I don't know. I'm that kind of dork. I always see people's past roles, Brian Altman is Craig from Degrassi. That's his name.
So you mentioned Brian. Let's talk about that super, super briefly because I do want to touch on the other 2 stories. Well, anyways. Brian, super briefly. This whole Brian and Katrina BFF thing. Is that just BFFs or is that supposed to be a romantic thing? What are you thinking? Is that truly just this is a heartwarming friendship?
So here's the problem. They had great chemistry and that whole all the family talk that they were doing throughout the episode with the Alex and Sam thing didn't work for those 2, but these 2 just kind of fell into it naturally. if we didn't know Brian's background in terms of like his wife or whatever just had a baby.
She just had a kid, right? Like, I don't know what the timeline is of Suits, but she just did. Which makes me think this has to just be a friendship. But they really gave it like the mood lighting and the chemistry sort of spins. I don't really know.
Yeah, I would not. I don't want to root for it, but I would if we didn't know that he already. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to say.
I guess I'm seeing it as sort of like we're presented. I'm probably overthinking this. We're presented with this sort of mystery of who's going to be the ship this season, I guess, because we were teased that there's going to be a new ship, right? So I'm like, antenna up, let's figure out who it is. Like, whether I'm rooting for the ship or not, I'm kind of just wanting to solve the mystery of who it is. And I was like, oh, is it going to be Alex and Sam? I don't really love that. Nothing against Alex and Sam, just nothing for them either, and I kind of wanted them, like, if we're going to have the storyline of them competing, I kind of want the storyline of them competing, whatever. And then I'm like, okay, is there going to be a new ship for Lewis? Maybe it kind of seems like they're sticking with Sheila, whatever. So I kind of suspect that Katrina is going to be one half of whatever the ship is, and I just don't really know what the other half is.
Donna.
I love it, Katrina. But other than, like, since my antenna, you and I have already talked that our suspicion all along has kind of been that, it's going to be Katrina and somebody. We even thought maybe Katrina and Lewis, whatever. Katrina and Brian seems like a possible option, but I don't know. I mean, there's the fact somebody, Helena on Twitter was like mentioning that, Brian has a family, and I was like, well, the show's never really like respected the whole like affair boundaries before, so I don't know why they would start now, but I guess we'll see. Stormy in the chat says, I hope Katrina and Brian stay friends. I'm not here for an affair. Well, there we go. There's a vote against them to stay as BFFs. Now, let's talk about a pair that we do not want to stay as BFFs, and let's talk about Harvey and Donna in this episode, which I definitely put down in my positives column. I thought they had a lot of good stuff, especially their last scene. I want to hear your thoughts. What did you think of Harvey and Donna in this episode?
Why are they like this? I mean,
Like, did you not like it, or you didn't?
No, I did, but that she's like standing all in the doorway with like this natural, flirty, sexy thing with Harvey in the copy room, which is a very marked contrast to whatever that awkward leaning on the desk was with the Sam Lewis scene. But they turn things that are not remotely,
right?
What?
That was supposed to be uncomfortable, right?
I really hope so.
I would imagine so. Although it's really similar to Lewis and Sheila, so who knows? But I don't ship that either. Anyways, back to Harvey and Donna.
But they turn things that are not flirty or sexual into very clearly flirty and sexual.
Harvey and Donna, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I mean, the way they just keep like looking at each other like that, and then they have like these heart eyes, let's talk about our son moments. Like, what is going on? Like, if it's really not happening, which some of the press seems to hint at least for the first half of the season, like, then stop.
I'm going to disagree, and I'll tell you why. I think that there was a lot of buildup for Harvey and Donna at the end of last season. And buildup without follow-through is the one thing I think or at least I complain about quite a lot for the show, is that sometimes they'll build up to a moment, they don't capitalize on it and follow through, right? So they built up this whole Harvey and Donna thing last season, and it was the process of sort of building them both up to being single and available, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it, and, mildly aware of their feelings for each other, and they had the moments, and they had the kiss and the denial and the whole, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They got through all that. And they built it up to where they're both sort of available to each other, but a little bit scared of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're not going to, like, waste a Harvey and Donna final like the ultimate get-together on, like, episode 3 of any season, right? They're going to, like, have them be available and angsty, but also, like, really happy around each other, the whole thing in circles, and those circles will tighten until they get together, and that will be either in, like, a mid-season finale or a season finale, something like that. They're gonna capitalize on it. Of course they would. We would be we would probably feel disrespected if they got together as like a throwaway thing in like episode 5 of a season. We'd be like, we're finale worthy at least, not series finale, dear God, but like, or not, like a season finale or mid-season, whatever, right?
But
so they have to keep giving them these, tense, flirty, sexy, angsty, whatever moments where they come across as married, or they come across as emotionally attached, or they very clearly are something other than just like the way everybody else is, just, coworkers, new coworkers, old coworkers, whatever. They're going to seem very different. They should seem different from new coworkers like Alex and Sam, who don't get along and don't really know each other very well. They should seem different than like kind of old, have worked together for a couple years, coworkers like Katrina and I'm losing his name, Brian. They should seem different from Katrina and Brian because they've worked together much longer than Katrina and Brian, and they've already been friends for ages. So I think they're just keeping that difference established while they build up to some sort of a finale of sorts.
But like, I get that, and it's logical sense, and somewhere deep down I know it. And this is like my tagline for the whole season. I'm tired, Cammie.
That's fair. It is season
tired. Like, I'm just exhausted. And it is though. They're like so sweet and so clearly want to jump each other's bones, but like
naturally
they always have. I mean, they just do it already, please.
Give it to like episode 10 or 16, one or the other.
I'm just tired.
That's fair. Okay, well, you naturally led me into my next question,
okay.
So I appreciate your tiredness on that. First, before my next question, comment in the chat. She says, I just worry the writers are going to keep baiting and not have follow-through. It's been 8 seasons. Come on. That's a valid worry that they'll keep baiting you like until the finale. But I think as long as you're still seeing some tension, some flirtiness, some sexiness, some whatever, it means they're not truly backing down from it. It's if they stop doing that entirely, then it's like, oh my God, then we have to build back up again. They built up at the end of last season. They're keeping it built up. They're stringing us along at that built up level rather than stringing us along at that not built up level. So I'll take it. I'll take what I get. I'm going to have to take what I can get regardless because I don't write the show. But my question for you is, since you were starting to talk about what you would like to see from them, and I'll expand it to all the other 3 storylines that we kind of already discussed. What do you want to see from the other 3 storylines? I'll say like in the rest of this up until the mid-season finale. So in the next like 7 episodes, I guess, what progression are you wanting to see for the characters that like you do like or do care about?
Only the characters that I like. Okay, that kind of. I want to see Katrina get her senior partner, which I think Lewis has got that handled, but just to be safe. I want to see Craig from Degrassi continue to be like a factor there. I want that friendship, and I like, we've kind of like broken that shell just ever so slightly on Katrina. She was that career woman, ice queen trope, and we're starting to melt that. I'm really excited about that, actually. So I mean, I would like basically the rest of the season to be 99% Katrina and 1% Darby just finally banging it out. Like, I think that
I'll take a few more percents of Donna doing what she did in the last few minutes of the episode.
You're right. But yeah,
I missed Gretchen as well in tonight's episode. I want to see more from her continuing.
I think she could have dealt with David like in a minute. So I think that's you right there too.
I don't want like. I understand that, like, we've seen Donna as like a longtime secretary, like senior exec. Before she was COO, when she was like senior executive, whatever secretary, she would occasionally interact with clients, but it was extremely. I actually can't think of really many times where she intentionally had to go interact with clients, other than like one time. Quite recently, she might have already been COO or nearly COO then. So I'm not like necessarily needing Gretchen to go like interact with clients. I want to see her interact with more people from the firm. And I really am enjoying the relationship mentorship sort of that they've built between Gretchen and Lewis, where she really seems like a friend who's willing to talk to him the way I wish like a lot of people would, like where she respects him as a person, but she takes no shit from him and doesn't like stand in awe of him as a lawyer. Like it's like a very human to human interaction, which I appreciate, and kind of hope for more of that from her and Lewis so that both of them get a chance to really have more of a storyline. Harvey and Donna definitely want to see that progression amped up. I want to be more teased, more frustrated with each episode of them. And Katrina, I want her to get everything she wants and then some, of course. Her friendship with Brian is cute, but I'm invested in it because of her, not because of Brian. So definitely more so her.
Look, he's clearly a factor in terms of like Lewis has a soft spot for him. Now Katrina does. Like, let him live. I know we like women better in terms of characters, especially on this show. Yes. But let's see. I think he, in some sense, like, I mean, Harvey's the new Mike, obviously, but we also, to some extent, Donna seems to enjoy mothering Brian.
Yeah.
Let Donna have a new adopted child. She's never gonna have like.
So Brian would kind of be the new Mike in that
by Harvey.
Yeah.
Balls. So, you know, let her have.
I'm okay with Brian and Harvey and etc. Even Katrina to an extent, kind of splitting up Mike characteristics, and then Rachel characteristics kind of seem to go mostly to Katrina. That seems to be the clearest sort of one-for-one substitution, not to diminish either one of them as two very individual characteristics, but in terms of their place in the story. And I think they've got a few Rachel characteristics as well in both Alex and Sam, but I would say mostly Katrina.
Don't put my Rachel in that monster.
No, I don't think either Alex or Sam are monsters. I think that they're new, and I'm mildly interested to see where their story goes. Maybe more interested in some of the other stories, but they're all right. I know you're not. I know.
Rachel never lied about her roots with multiple stories. She never insulted Donna.
Yes, she did. On
not
both
like
those
that.
two things, Rachel has definitely insulted Donna, and Rachel has definitely lied about her history, especially her history with taking that test. Ooh.
Not like this. Like you have we knew where she came from. It was not a big. I mean, like 16 different lies.
She actually did keep from them where she came from. They didn't know for quite a while that she was the Zane's daughter. Remember?
They didn't make up like 50 freaking stories. There's a huge difference. I promise.
I kind of like that Sam makes up different stories about her background. I think it's kind of interesting. I don't care what her real background is, but I don't mind that she makes up stories.
Well, that's the problem, though, isn't it? Like, she's supposed to be this big mystery, and you are more than meets the eye, but, like, we don't care, and there's no substance to it.
I'm sure there are some people who like genuinely care what like Sam's background or story is, and maybe it really is fascinating. I just don't really care, but I do think it's kind of fun that she's got this whole like, you don't know what my background is, and maybe they'll drag that on forever. Like maybe that will be the norma. Stormy says, I wonder what skeleton Zane has in his closet that Sam hinted at. And I think Sam is kind of more just representative of like the skeleton Zane has in his closet, like what he's allowed and what sort of, like she's obviously like broken the law many times, which like, of course, so has Harvey, so has Mike, so has Donna, so has everybody, right? But she seems to have very seriously broken the law many, many times. And right, that makes her a perfect fit for the firm because so have most of them, I guess. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It's low on my radar of storylines I'm watching, but it's not bothering me. And this episode did give me, for me, it gave me a high rating. I know you're still yet to be sold. Maybe it'll get better, maybe it'll get worse. We'll see.
It was better than the first two, I'll give it that, but it was still like it was way too much telling, not enough showing, and just not played well. Like I don't.
We'll see. I think they'll get.
I don't think so.
They'll get somewhere. We'll find out. But I have got to evaporate, disappear, go. You have as well. we will see all of your pretty faces. I see no faces in the chat, so like I'm just assuming you're all pretty because you all seem like it. I know Shana's pretty. I will see you all next week, same time, same place. If you have any chats or questions or anything you want to talk about suits or anything else with me or with Miss Shana, you can't see, but every time I click on her face, I also am like gesturing to her face. You can find our information in the description down below. I think on Shana's Twitter, she also has reviews that she writes up for suits for various sites because she's very talented and actually does things other than talk to a camera, unlike me. Nicole Fernandez says, the after show is amazing. Thank you, girls. Thank you, Nicole. Also, I can see your profile picture. You are very pretty. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all your questions and comments. And thank you also to those who just watch and don't question and comment. You're valid as well, but I would love to hear your thoughts. I will talk to you all next week. Bye.